I used to live my life a quarter mile at a time. But things changed. I'm a father now.
All right, Dom. What's next?
No matter how fast you are,
I am not to be compared to you.
no one outruns their past.
I am more easy, you trying your best to become me.
And mine.
Long time, Dom.
So we're up against a master thief, assassin, high-performance driver. Who is he?
Jacob is Dom's brother.
I came here to take you down, little brother.
That's your mistake. This is my world.
Damn, they got a magnet plane?
Hold on.
Tell me you're not thinking what I think you're thinking. There's no bridge!
Oh, hell no.
And genders of all welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and genders of all ages, to today's episode of Jivin With Jack. For those of you who just saw our trailer made by our very own Tyler Roberts, tomorrow morning we will be at Showcase doing live coverage of Fast 9. Let me clarify that. We're not going to be doing it for the parking lot or the men's room or the ladies' room or on our iPhones, sitting at a table. No, we are working with Showcase Cinemas. And we'll be doing a live show starting at 10:30. We'll do our pre-show. Then after the movie, we'll do a post-show where we'll do a non-spoiler review, followed by a spoiler review. So, folks, make sure this weekend, if you're going out to the movie theaters, check out Fast 9. Today, we're talking Loki. We're talking, should we boycott the DCEU? Snyder Cut gets a release date. What does this mean for the Restore the Snyder Verse movement? Who knows? We don't know, but we will pretend like we do. And finally, Britney Spears is trying to get her identity back. And it's kind of an important issue, so we're going to save that for the end of the show. But at this moment, I'm going to ask you guys to like, share, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Check out the details below. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on AOL. We're on MySpace. We're on everything. At this moment, to pull in my co-host. Austin, are you there? Ah! You did it again. It's Ty. Guys, check it out. It's Ty.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I made a joke in the description that Austin's in the hospital more than a registered nurse with 2 shifts. But Austin's, I think, a little bit sick today. But if he shows up on Into the West, I'm going to find him tonight. I'm going to fly to Vegas.
Yeah, if he showed up there, there will be hell to pay. I just gotta fix my microphone real quick. So,
okay. No, go ahead. So usually what we've been doing on Thursday the last couple of weeks is we kind of go over Loki, pick up any things we picked up on. I've got to say, for those of you who I've mentioned this before, have seen my Jack Attack, my very first Jack Attack, where I laid into WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. I stand by what I said about those shows. I thought they were mediocre. I thought they were okay. I thought they were preachy. I thought WandaVision was trying to be smarter than it actually is. It's sort of like a freshman trying to write a postmodern art paper, trying to seem like they're smarter than they are. I thought they were weak. This show, though, Loki has been beyond better than what I had expected. I think every episode has been good. I've heard some people say that maybe it's a little bit of a filler episode. However, I think there's a lot to break down in this episode. If you don't know, we do a watch party every Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So that's technically Wednesday morning at 3 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can join us. We do a pre-show and we do a watch party exclusively on Periscope and Twitch. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So how have you been?
I've been great. Went out and did a couple of things today. But guys, I am super excited for tomorrow. I mean, I know Fast and the Furious isn't the movie that, we're all excited for, or,
I am.
I'm excited for it.
Mhm.
It's one of those movies that you get your popcorn, you sit down, you enjoy yourself.
Yeah. I mean, look, I would say that aside from Marvel, it's probably the most successful franchise right now at the moment in the last 10 years. And it's funny because like Marvel, the first couple of movies, they made money. But then around the fourth or fifth movie, they started making $1 billion, $1.2 billion, $1.3 billion. And they're fun, schlocky movies. I know people like look at them like with this weird periscope. They do the same thing with Snyder's movies. Like they overanalyze them for like faults. And I'm like, I think you're kind of missing the point here, but they won't do that to the movies they like. I always say be consistent in your attack. If you don't like them, don't watch it. But I think this is going to be a true test of the box office because what else has come out this year? Mortal Kombat, but that was also on HBO Max. I think A Quiet Place 2 was the only one that was also only in theaters. Yeah. But A Quiet Place 2 did pretty well. Remember, that's a lower budget film. Yeah. That's not a $200 million film. So if this movie does really well, and I expect it will, over the box office over this weekend, next couple of weekends, I think Warner Brothers is going to shoot themselves in the foot for putting Suicide Squad as a dual release because Suicide Squad is going to be on HBO Max, and I think a lot of fans, unfortunately, will be sitting at home instead of going out to see it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Loki? What you saw episode 3? What did you think about this episode?
Definitely a filler episode.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the caliber that the first 2 episodes were. Mm-hmm. It definitely progressed the story. With each series, like with each show, movie, there's got to be that, couple minutes or in the case of a series, those couple episodes that kind of just progress the series, kind of like the Mandalorian and like the Frog Lady.
Yeah, I felt like I love the Mandalorian, but I felt like every other episode there was something wrong with the ship and he needed to fix it. Yeah. Like it almost felt like a video game. Like, you want me to put this new engine in? Then go to this town over here and fix their problem. Like in video games, you have like a quest you got to do so you can continue in the story. And that's how it felt. But you know what? This one was a pretty good transitional episode. I was surprised that we learned so much about her name is Sylvie. We kept calling her Lady Loki, but now that we learned her name is Sylvie Laffy daughter, apparently. You see it like on one of the files. I didn't find that. Other people found that out. But what was interesting is it kind of starts off with a song called Demons by Haley Kiyoko. And let me just read some of the lyrics. Please forgive me. I've got demons in my head. There's something in the water. I don't like the flavor. I don't like the taste. Searching for nirvana, something that'll take it away from me. And I'm trying to think, is this the first show that kind of has an opening music track like that? I don't think Falcon and Winter Soldier did. I don't think WandaVision did.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Endgame opened with like a song in it, but what's kind of interesting is that we learn a little bit more about Sylvie's powers. She's with C20, the girl who got kidnapped in the last episode.
Yeah.
And what she's able to do is she explains later on, she's able to go into your head. And so what happens is we're like, okay, did Sylvie create this world, where there's margaritas, there's a bar, there's dancing. We learn later on that C20, this girl, actually at some point lived her life on Earth. So, what Mobius said was like, oh, all these people you see here, they're all grew up here. They all lived here.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a huge revelation.
Yeah.
Like as far as reveals go for the episode, this was the top reveal.
Yeah.
That something sinister, is afoot.
Yeah. And not only that, I wonder, does Mobius know? Because, this connects with his jet ski thing. Remember the last episode, he's obsessed with jet skis?
Maybe that's why he's obsessed with jet skis.
And he himself doesn't know that at some point, maybe he is from the 90s and he did use jet skis, and it's sort of like a latent thing. But, we understand that that's where she finds out, where are the timekeepers? They say there's a gold elevator. That's where you find them. But, Lady Loki finds, I think it was her first time in the TVA. And a lot of people figure this out because when she tried to use her powers, she realized it didn't work. So there's a scene here where she tries to use her mind meld thing or whatever it is to get inside this. It doesn't work. So then immediately a lot of people were like, oh, then she hasn't been there before. She has never been there before. That was her first time in the TVA. Yeah. And again, Loki confronts her. What's interesting is everyone kept referring to her as Lady Loki. I think the show is kind of establishing that she's kind of her own character. She's not just a female version of Loki. She's kind of her own thing. Because this episode especially kind of really pushes the fact that these are not the same people. Or she's not a female version of him. Or he's not a male.
She is. But she doesn't want to be established. She doesn't want to be called Lady Loki. She doesn't want to be called Loki. So she came up with this name for herself, and that's her alias. She just doesn't want to be Loki.
Yeah.
But, which is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there are similarities between them, but there are also a lot of differences. Both of them want to find the timekeepers, but she flat out just says, I had this plan, for years to do this. And he's like, what, you're just going to kill them and that's it? You're going to leave a power vacuum? And Loki's the type of person who would like to take that power vacuum. But basically, they get cornered by, what's her name? Ravonna Ravenslayer. I can never remember her name. Yeah. And so he hits this thing right here and they get dropped over here. It's out of batteries. They're kind of stuck here on this planet called, in fact, it was the name of the episode, Lamentis.
Lamentis 1.
Yeah, Lamentis. By the way, this had to be a reference to Cyberpunk 2077. It has to be, just because it has a very kind of cyberpunk aesthetic to it. The kind of the purple, the little neons, my design. But so they're in the year 2077, and this is an apocalyptic event. Because my very first thought was well, why don't they just create? Why doesn't Loki create a branch in the timeline to kind of alert the TVA that, hey, come rescue us because this planet's about to get destroyed. But because it's about to get destroyed, nothing they will do will alert the TVA. So they're kind of trapped there.
Yeah, they established that last episode.
Yeah. So I wonder why Loki chose this. Did he program this in there, or did he just by pure coincidence happen to arrive there?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because my first thought was that she had programmed to go there to hide again.
Yeah.
But then she's mad at him. She's like, do you know where you've brought us? You brought us to the worst place in the world. You idiot. And I'm like, well, did he pick the place or did she pick the place? And he just happened to hit that button. But, they're in this place. And as we know, by the end of the episode, they're kind of trapped there. And what I kind of liked about that, they established the rules in the first 2 episodes, and now you see how they're trapped by the rules.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? By establishing the world really well, we understand why they can't just leave or do anything. But there's one thing that Loki has that might change everything, because a lot of people picked up the fact that he might have used a time stone later on. But so basically they're on Lamentis, and this moon's about to destroy this planet. And they decide to kind of work together, but neither of them trust each other. And one of the recurring themes that ends up happening is this concept of love. There's a really phenomenal conversation they have on a train. But essentially they find out they're trapped on this planet, and the only thing that might have the power to recharge the little time device, I don't know, folks, if you know what it's called, that little thing they use to transport with time, might be this arc. It's a ship powerful enough to have enough juice to power it up. So there's one little small break off here where they find this place, this lady shoots them. She tells them about the arc. And the scene on the train, I thought every scene every episode will have a conversation scene. In the first 2 episodes, it's always with Mobius, but the scene between the two of them, I thought was just so well written. You know, Loki starts talking about his mother again, and again, you see like the emotionality he's trying to hide. Like he's trying to hide it, but he's not doing a good job. He says she was good, she was pure, she was decent. And Sylvia's like, are you sure she was actually your mother? He's like, actually, I was adopted. And she's like, I was adopted too. So we see sort of like these similarities between the characters in terms of, you know, in terms of like their backgrounds. But she says, I knew I was adopted and I don't remember my mother. So she might have actually had it worse than he did. She says just blips of a dream at this point. But I really enjoyed that entire train sequence where they're just talking to each other. I thought the dialogue was well written. I thought it explored both characters. Like I felt by the end of this, I kind of knew who she was, or at least where she's coming from. We don't know what her end game is aside from she wants to get rid of the timekeepers. But what did you think?
It's so hard to say in the beginning. I'm really not confused, but I really don't know what her motivations are.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think why does she want to do this?
If I had to theorize, because from what she tells Loki, which could be a lie, she's like, I just want to get rid of the timekeepers. That's it. And Loki's like, that you're going to create a power vacuum and you're not going to try to take power. And I think maybe, and I think Austin also suggested this, that she's from a timeline that was destroyed.
Oh, okay.
And everyone she knew, she might have survived somehow. You know, they used one of those grenades and destroyed the timeline. Yeah. And she just wants revenge, pure and simple. She mentions in the train, and this is what's interesting because I definitely see some chemistry between the two of them. And out of nowhere, Loki says, you know, do you have like a love or something? You know, is there a lucky bow waiting for you at the end of the crusade? In his own way, maybe trying to flirt with her, maybe not, because we've never seen Loki as a romantic character, but he sees so much in common with her and she's not quite him. And that's pure narcissism in there to like fall in love with yourself. But he asked her and she says, well, there was a mailman that I was in love with. You know, he meant a lot to me, blah, blah, blah. He helped me get through, you know, all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. And so she's not a heartless character. And I'm curious, that person she was in love with, was that person destroyed? Was that person killed for whatever reason? Maybe he happened to be, maybe she was the variant and she caused, you know, kind of a death and she wants revenge. Because clearly she doesn't have the same, she's not as mischievous as Loki, whereas Loki, it seems like, does stuff to just F with people.
Right.
She does it because she's got a end game. I hope there's another reveal.
Is it the mailman from WandaVision?
Well, maybe.
Imagine.
Yeah, could you imagine if that's who it was? I mean, someone apparently looked it up, and apparently that was part of one of the comic stories.
That she had.
There was a mailman or something.
Okay.
Yeah. But good.
So this series has done such a good job at rejuvenating people and getting people ready for the future of the MCU, right? This show, it's like a space opera. It's an action show. The dialogue's great. It's everything I wanted in a show out of Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I don't think WandaVision brought the heat. Falcon and Winter Soldier was a little bit better, but Loki is smashing it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of the visuals alone, like, let's take a look at these towns they kind of go through. I got when they first arrived, I had a very Sakaara vibe from it, from Thor Ragnarok. You saw these things crashing. Because remember when Thor in Thor Ragnarok arrives in Sakaar, like you see stuff crashing. I'm like, oh, did he end up back there? And there was very kind of like I'm going to show you some photos, like some Jack Kirby-esque like coloring, just kind of, you know, alien planet, you know, feel to it, especially the train car. You know, you see the background, the colors. It's very bright and very attractive, but doesn't distract you from the actors themselves. And I thought that was kind of cool about it. It seems like this one had effort. If the other two shows were just TV shows, this one seems like they put effort into the shots, into the dialogue, into the characters, I feel.
Yes, 100%, 100%. And Loki, like Loki's character development throughout the show has been spot on. Spot on.
And one of the cool, interesting things we see is that Loki keeps implying, like, hey, I'm intelligent, I'm calculated, you're impulsive. Like, there's a scene where they go to this old lady's door and she just goes in with force and she just blows her away. And Loki's like, you don't use guys or diplomacy. And then she does the same to him. But her plan, so they want to take this train. Her plan is to take it by force. And he just comes up with the plans like, or we could just do this. I dress up as a guard and he walks right in, to the train. So while she is a variant of him, or they're both variants of Loki, he seems to be more calculated, more, I guess you could say, I don't want to use the word diplomatic, but he's more about using his words to kind of navigate through situations. He's sort of like a shoot first, ask questions later. He even says, I have no idea how you survived this far. But what I'm getting to is that why I said that they're similar but kind of different. I kind of get the vibe there's kind of a little romantic thing there. I totally got that. I don't know if you picked up.
I did. And
then some people were saying, well, that's like him dating himself. And I'm like, kind of, but if she's from another timeline or she's another variant, she's different enough. She has her own identity, her own, I guess you could say, principles, her own style, her own set of powers, where I do consider her like, yeah, she would be a different person. I wonder if genetically they're the same. What if they're not genetic? Like,
that could be weird.
Yeah. And by the way, we're told she's a Loki variant by the TVA.
Yes.
What if they're lying? What if she's not actually a variant? She's her own person.
And this is just like this is their way of like justifying it.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, Gavin saying Loki is good too. The mailman. I'm still annoyed with WandaVision, especially Ralph Bonner. But I actually liked WandaVision better than Falcon Winter Soldier. Yeah, you know what? At least WandaVision was trying to do something interesting. It just didn't land for me. Like, this is a show that I will rewatch. I could see myself rewatching Loki again. I don't know if I'll ever rewatch Falcon and Winter Soldier because I don't know. But the characters in here are so much richer. Whether it's Kahina, whether it's Lady Loki, what we now call Sylvia, I guess.
Yeah.
But there was a great scene where Loki kind of ruins everything. So this is a common theme. She says, love is mischief. Or sorry, love is hate. Then she says, maybe love is mischief. And then, interesting, what happens is Loki gets drunk and he starts singing like a song, and he got everyone singing it. And the line is, when she sings, come home. And I'm like, there's got to be some kind of foreshadowing there, because it's the only part that's in English. The rest of it is supposed to be some kind of Asgardian language.
Yeah.
There's definitely some kind of when she comes home. Where is her home? What if we learn her home is the sacred timeline?
Ooh.
Or at least one that was erased,
Yeah.
But let me say this line, because Loki says, this is a great quote. Loki says, I have an answer to your question. I wrote it down. Love is a dagger. It is a weapon to be wielded far away or up close. You can see yourself in it. It's beautiful until it makes you bleed. But ultimately, when you reach for it, it isn't real. And she says that's a stupid analogy. And I'm like, oh, but that is type of dialogue I wish I could see more of in the MCU. That kind of writing, that kind of metaphor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because to date, the MCU has kind of been lackluster in not only it's formulaic kind of thing, but the dialogue is very meh. There's not a lot of depth to things. But this show is really changing the game as far as everything, as far as I'm concerned. It's making us want to find out more about these characters that aren't necessarily A-listers, you know?
Yeah.
Not these characters that are Robert Downey Jr. Like now, who would have thought a show based around Loki would be doing this well?
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Who would have
Exactly.
thought? Who would have thought? So
But
this is great.
Mhm. And eventually him being drunk brings attention and they get thrown out, and that turns out that machine has been destroyed, you know?
Yeah, how
Just a word
convenient.
for me. Yeah. He gets thrown out of the train, and basically she's like, so we hijack the Ark and make sure it gets off the moon, but they already know that the Ark is going to be destroyed because this is an apocalyptic event. So they finally get to the Ark, and the moon is collapsing into the planet, and something interesting happens. Everything is falling around them. Then Loki does this. The top part of a building is collapsing, and he puts his arms out and he does a gesture. It stops, and then it goes back up. Everyone is suggesting that he most definitely has the time stone, that he stole the time stone from in episode 1 when he found the drawer full of because I'd never seen him do that. Like, he stops the building's about to collapse, and then he goes back up.
Interesting.
So if he has a time stone, can he make the device go back in time to when it was juiced up? Because remember we saw Doctor Strange do the thing where he takes a bite of the apple and then he rewinds time in the apple's hole again, then he forwards time, and so could he take the device?
That solve all their issues?
Yeah, but maybe Loki doesn't quite know how to use the time stone.
Okay,
like I don't know.
Which would make Loki one of the only people to ever have in possession 3 Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So do you remember that scene where like that thing was collapsing on them?
Yeah. I know.
I
was wondering how he did that.
Yeah. But people have remembered, like, apparently when he goes through the drawer, he actually picks up the time stone, and you maybe think that he put it back, but if he kept it on him, and you know he can hide things, did he take the time stone? And if not, did he take the Tesseract? Because the Tesseract could get them out of there.
Yeah. For easily, actually.
Yeah. So
easily.
Yeah. So there's also a great scene. I forgot to screenshot it. When Loki arrives, he's seen the people scream. He's like, they're going to let all these people die. Like, it's almost like a heroic moment. Like, he realizes, like, not that he's going to save them, but he realized that these people are going to die, and he actually seems to have remorse about it. The one thing they haven't touched on, the Russo brothers had said that one of the reasons Loki was evil in the first Avengers movie was that he was under the influence of the Mind Stone. And they don't really seem to touch on that in this series. I think this series is kind of going with the nope. He wanted to take over Earth just because he was who he was. That the Mind Stone didn't really play a factor in all that. What do you think about that? Because I think that they might have said that after the fact to maybe.
Can you reiterate that? What?
Okay, so basically, Loki does all these evil things in the first Avengers movie. And I believe it's the Russo brothers who said that there's a possibility that he was under the influence of the Mind Stone, so he was more evil than usual. And that normally he wouldn't want to kill all those people. But in this show, they're not really talking about that because this is after the events of the first Avengers, that there doesn't seem to be any aspect that he was controlled by the Mind Stone.
I think Loki has always had an evil part of him.
Mm-hmm.
I think the stone amplified that. Because the stones amplify you, right? The stones bring something out in you that's already there. At least to some degree. So I think he's always been, I mean, look, he's the god of mischief.
Yeah.
Right? So I think he's always and we have to think about his motivations, because he felt that he was the true ruler of Asgard, and he was jealous of Thor. So maybe that's what led him to that moment in teaming up with Thanos or whatever. And yes, maybe he didn't want to kill everybody, but the stone wouldn't allow him to not do that. Like, maybe the stone was interfering with his morality. Is what I'm saying. So maybe maybe that
because it
is
affected
true.
in the Avengers. It affected all of them. Remember that scene where they're all arguing with each other, and you have Cap saying, "Put on the suit, let's go a few rounds." And the camera's kind of like tilted like this as they're all like arguing with each other, and then the camera cuts to the scepter and kind of spins around, and all of a sudden, like the idea is the stone is kind of messing with them. Maybe not too forcefully, but you have Cap saying things you would never say. You have Thor is like, "Oh, you people are so petty," and like they're arguing with each other. And then it cuts to Bruce Banner holding the scepter, like, "Doctor, put the scepter down." So maybe it made him more evil than he might have normally been. Like, yeah, he's still a bad guy, but even the first Thor movie, his ultimate goal was to impress his father by destroying Jotunheim. Yeah, he was going to lure the frost giants in, kill them, and show Dad, look at me, Dad, I can do it, but I think maybe the Russo brothers were trying to lighten Loki's, I guess, character. Like, oh, he wasn't that evil, but the episode ends with them looking as the Ark is hit by debris and blows up, and they're just stuck there on the planet. I'm curious, if Loki has a time stone, does he have any other time stones? Can he go up, stop the Ark from exploding, and maybe get it to launch sooner? I don't know how they get out of this.
I don't either.
Or, I mean, the question is, how far can the time stone go? Let's say they can go back a year, 2 years, and create a variant or a branch of the timeline that would alert the TVA to where they are,
Yeah.
Because Loki getting caught by the TVA, he could talk himself out of it, like, "Oh, yeah, it was my plan to follow her and to alert you guys,"
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that wasn't his plan, but I'm very curious to see how they get out of it. And again, this is what I'm liking about the show, that I'm not quite sure what's going to happen in the next episode. I'm like, I have no idea.
Yes.
And the idea of mystery.
Hey, beautiful. Did you guys watch Zack Snyder's use of the wall for the Infinity commercial? What?
Infinity as in the car? I did not see that. But listen, we're going to talk about Zack Snyder in about 10 seconds. Any last thoughts about this week's episode of Loki?
I gave it a strong 7.8.
Okay, that's fair. It wasn't as good as the first two, but I thought there were some cool things in here. I like the kind of planet hopping, and we didn't really see the TVA characters. We're in the TVA for a few seconds, but we don't see, what's her name, B-15, the one who's like, he answers to no one, not even God. We didn't see her, and we didn't see Mobius at all.
Yeah, we didn't see Mobius at all.
Yeah.
At all. Wow.
Yeah.
At all.
Because he's probably going to get in trouble. They're going to blame this whole thing on him, even though he's actually been really good at his job.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited for this. I'm more excited for this than I was in the weeks between WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I'm enjoying Loki, folks. What are your thoughts on Loki? Remember, every Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So technically Wednesday morning. Let me give you a date. So next week on the 30th, was around 2:30 or 3 a.m. in the morning?
We start at 2:30.
2:30. We do a watch party for Loki. So especially if you're international fans, it might be easier for you. Make sure you join us on Wednesday mornings, 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Use your iPhone to calculate where in the world the time will be for you. All right, let's move on to Zack Snyder. So we have an official release date for the 4K of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm kind of glad we got this because it seemed like maybe they may not release it. They might just keep it on HBO Max. But this is per Cinema Blend, and it is confirmed on September 7th. It will be getting a 4K and a Blu-ray release. I know that I'm definitely going to buy this.
Yeah. This is a must buy. I wonder if there's going to be any extra stuff in it. Like any extra director's commentary.
I didn't think of that. Like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Like even tell the story of the Snyder Cut, like how it happened. There's a potential for a lot of special features. My question is Warner Media going to put the money in, or HBO Max, or I don't know who makes the Blu-rays and the DVDs? I'm guessing It's Warner Media. But I'm really excited about that because I'm a big proponent of physical media, especially in 4K, because I think 4K media just looks amazing. If you have a 4K player or if you have an Xbox Series X or whatever the new one is called, or a PS5, they have a built-in 4K player. It looks so much better with 4K. And this movie looked good on HBO Max. Imagine what the physical copy is looked like. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. So, so this is what Prakash is saying. Prakash is saying, WB said no to more content, not even that Joker deleted scene. Really?
Aww.
You know the one where he says, we live in a society where honor, that's ridiculous. So they're literally just going to release the movie. That's it.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
Yeah, that's just them being douchey. I'm like, yeah, Warner Bros. So speaking of being douchey of Zack Snyder, do you remember a couple of days ago when they had this whole controversy of Harley Quinn and, Batman going down on Catwoman?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah. So after that, basically what he did was Zack posted this and he wrote canon. It's a picture of Batman going down on Catwoman. And he just wrote that it's canon. That he posted that. And then today, he then shared a report. The picture has been removed because of a copyright claim. Tell me that wasn't Warner Brothers who did that.
Oh,
just to
easily.
That's so
easily.
That's so petty. Just to do that to him. We're just gonna, we're just gonna take it, gonna cut it out. How many times have you shared an image on Twitter or shared an image just in general? Have you ever been copyright struck for an image? Folks, you guys use Twitter probably more than I do. Has anyone ever been copyright struck for a comic book image? No. I mean, we're always constantly using images. Look right here. We're we never get copyright struck for using these images. No one's ever that don't belong to you,
Yeah.
And that's what but someone deliberately in Warner Brothers found out whoever created that image and decided to be a douche to him. And right now that image has been taken down. And this is what it looks like on his Twitter page. It just looks like, boom, report from the copyright holder. It's ridiculous.
By doing that, they officially admitted it's canon.
Oh my God. That was a stupid thing, the whole Harley Quinn thing. It's an R-rated show. Who cares if they showed that? And let's be honest, when we say show that, it probably would have been even less graphic than that image. But they're superheroes don't do stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. No, but it blows my mind that if the comic book, so if you can do it in comic books, why is it such a bad thing to post it online? Hey, this actually happened in a book.
Yeah.
It doesn't show him tongue in.
Mm-hmm. It's very PG-13. They just, it's implied.
Yeah. So I just don't understand.
Didn't they show Bruce Wayne's penis in a comic book recently? They just show him dick swinging.
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, that happened. It was one panel. It's like he's walking and you see yeah, it is. This actually happened. I'm like, all right, can we see Catwoman's boobs? More of it.
My God. Oh my God.
Hey, equal opportunity, folks. You show us one, you got to show us the other. But folks, tell us what you think about that. I mean, that just screams silly to me. Just a little bit silly to me. By the way, yesterday was the 32nd anniversary of the original Tim Burton Batman movie. I always wanted to ask you, when was your first experience seeing that? Was it recently, or was it when you were a kid? Because when you were younger, the Chris Nolan stuff had come out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 28, so yeah. When I was, The Dark Knight came out. I watched that, and then I reintroduced myself to the other ones.
Okay.
So I kind of went backwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always found it was a little bit different, especially after The Dark Knight, to kind of go back and watch the older movies because they were done in a completely different style. You know, the special effects were very 80s, you know, but there was something about that movie. It was, you know, and that's kind of Tim Burton's style. He always does a gothic style and everything. Every movie he does, whether it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or, you know, Nightmare Before Christmas, but that style I always thought suited Batman. So I'm kind of curious in Flash, will we see a Gotham that is similar to that Tim Burton aesthetic, or are we going to see a Gotham that's going to be Andy Muschietti's version of that Gotham?
Yeah. I would like if I would like if they brought back the Burton style Gotham for the scenes that take place in that world, and go full out, like dark, very dreary, you know, just Burton's Gotham.
Yeah.
However, I don't know when. Like, so when is this taking place, or not? When is it taking place? But where is the movie set? Is it set? Is it set in '89, that world, or is it set in our universe?
Yeah. Do you call it the DCEU sacred timeline? Yeah, I guess that's one of the questions we're not sure. And plus, you know, we know it's being filmed in London and they're using like a mansion or whatever, or rather the UK. I'm guessing it is Barry's in another timeline. I mean, we know he's going to go multiverse. Is the majority of the film going to be in another universe? He's got to figure his way back. Or is he going to bring these characters into the main timeline, the DCEU timeline? And the truth is we actually don't know. And I kind of like that we don't know. It kind of makes speculating a little bit more fun. I assume that whenever we ever see a first trailer, this is coming out next year, right?
Yeah.
I think Flash is coming out next year.
2022, yes.
Yeah, so next year. Yeah, so I hope maybe by the end of the year we see a trailer of some sorts. Which would be kind of cool. Maybe don't give away too much in the movies, but like show us a little bit at least, you know, of it, and give us a little bit of a glimpse as to what's happening in that universe. But speaking of which, we had an interesting conversation, folks. Last night, we had a panel discussion, and the issue came up of boycotting the DCEU. So a lot of fans, not all, some of the Snyder fans on Twitter have been saying they're going to boycott Suicide Squad. They're going to boycott The Flash in support of Zack Snyder. And we kind of talked about it last night. In fact, I would recommend, you know, taking a look at it because I think Enosh made the point that, hey, I'm a DC fan. Yes, I want the Snyder Verse restored. And he's pretty confident that he feels like it's going to be restored because he said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how.
Yes.
But we had Saggy Melons who was saying for her, it's about, do I support the characters or do I support the director? And she kind of gave it a very sort of a binary choice that if we hit Warner Brothers in their pockets, and we boycott it, that would be letting them know that, hey, we want the Snyderverse restored. I understood her point, but I don't see a lot of fans skipping out on what could be potentially two very fun movies because I think the Suicide Squad looks fun.
Yeah.
And I think it looks great. I think it looks promising. I think it looks excellent. And even though I want the Snyderverse restored, I'm not necessarily going to first of all, we're Pop Culture Corner. We're going to be covering it regardless, you know?
Yes. Just like we're covering Fast 9, we're going to cover the Suicide Squad, the Flash. That's our job, no matter what.
Yeah. And so I feel like it's petty. I know something first of all, people were complaining about the kryptonite thing. Oh, Superman got shot with a kryptonite bullet. That would never happen. And it's like, but it's happened in the comics. But let me ask you guys this. Would you be willing to boycott?
No.
the Suicide Squad, or
No.
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 But what about you guys in the comments? Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, like I was going to tell the story. So I remember last night I said when I was a little kid, and I remember Batman Forever came out, right? That was the first one that Tim Burton didn't do.
Yeah.
And I was a little kid. I was like, oh, Michael Keaton's not in it. I don't want to see it, but I was a kid. And I was like, but part of me was like, I don't want to watch it unless Michael Keaton's in it. But then, I'm a teenager, and lo and behold, Batman Begins comes out. And that's a really good movie. For its time, I thought it was a really good movie. It took comic books seriously. It took the characters seriously. It did stuff with comic books that we hadn't seen at the time. And it kind of started my love for Batman on film. I was reading the comics regardless, but Batman on film. And it kind of did that for me. So I don't know if I'm going to boycott. And I said this last night. I don't think, as big as the Snyder fandom is, Warner Brothers is looking for general audiences. And look, we think Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War both went over $2 billion. Do you think the overwhelming majority of people who went to see those movies were like hardcore Marvel fans? No, they were casual audiences.
No, general audiences.
That's what Warner Brothers wants.
Yes. And Warner Brothers. Okay. Because I do have to bounce in a few minutes, but Warner Brothers, by bringing Michael Keaton in, they are relying heavily on nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Bring those general audience members in, right? Those people that remember Michael Keaton's Batman, right? They grew up with Michael Keaton's Batman. They love Michael Keaton's Batman. For some of them, Michael Keaton is their Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to draw them in. They have the DC fans like us who are going to see it regardless. And then they have the Snyder Cut fans who are going to see it because they want to know, is it going to kill the DCEU or our DCEU? So for them, this is a win. This is going to be a win. They're going to make a buttload of money on this movie.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, I'm not sure about,
especially if it's a dual release. Even last night, some of our panel members were like, I'm going to watch it at home. I'm not going to see it in theaters. But if it was only in theaters like Fast 9, then I would have gone and seen it in theaters.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the dual release. We've all talked about that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the dual release. I think it's stupid. It worked during the pandemic, but now that you can go out, and you don't have to wear a mask or it's optional, like, guys, get back to the theater. Get back to the theater.
Exactly. I mean, I think I've gone to more movies this year once the pandemic was over than I did in the last couple of years combined. Because for a while, it was just like, I only go if it's a Marvel movie or a DC movie. That was it.
Yeah.
And that was it. Now, I saw A Quiet Place 2. We saw Conjuring at Showcase. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I forgot how fun this is. It's just nice. Sit in a nice chair and just eat popcorn with some friends. And it's an experience. So, Ty, I do know you have to head out, but I'm going to make an offer. This is something that me and Austin had talked about and Ty had talked about, is that part of with Jivin With Jack. Ooh.
Hey, we're getting big when we get comments like these.
Yeah.
And like these.
There we go. But this is something we talked about, so I'll be doing the show by myself. However, if you're a member or in the comments section and you would like to come and join us, this is a section we're going to call, and this is what we're calling. You're going to come on. You're going to join me. It's called, wait for it, Jivin With Jack. Instead of Jivin With Jack, it's Jivin With Jack, because you'll actually be talking to me. So, folks, if you're in the comment section, if you're a member and you want to jump on the show, tell us what you think about Loki. Tell us what you think about the Snyder Cut. Yeah.
Jivin With Jack. Oh, I think I get it.
It's a joke. It's the same
yeah. Ha, 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 ha. Oh, my God. You're hilarious.
You'll be Jivin With Jack.
Yeah, but does anybody want to jump in and talk to Jack? Does anyone want to jive with Jack? If you're a member, I'll reach out to a couple people as well.
All right.
But jump in there, guys. I do gotta head out. I was up until when did the watch party end last night?
4 o'clock. 4:30.
4 or 5, and then I slept till 8 o'clock. So I'm running on E. I'm like, I'm falling asleep. Not here, but like I'm very tired. I'm very, 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 very tired. So guys, thank you guys so much for having me, Jack.
Yeah.
I will. I'll try to find someone to jump in with you. Okay.
All right. Okay. No problem. It'll be like when I first started doing TY's Corner. It was just
You
me,
did it alone,
and I had so much power in my hands.
Yes.
But if you're watching, you're welcome to join. We can talk about anything. We can talk about Loki. We can talk about Snyder Cut, the DCEU. Maybe talk a little bit about what happened last night. If not, I have other topics to talk about. And you know me, I have never short for opinions.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Godspeed. All right, folks. All by myself. This is how I always wanted it, honestly. Just me and you. Mono e mono. Folks, if you're just joining us, this is Jivin with Jack. Austin is sick or dead. We're not sure what happened to Austin. We get random texts. Here's my theory. I think Austin got kidnapped, and someone else has his phone, and just random is like, yes, I am sick. I'm not here. But actually, Austin is no longer with us. What if Justice took him? What if Justice took Austin? What if Justice and Austin were both kidnapped by the same person, and that's why we don't know where they are? It's a possibility. Is it true? Probably not. But, this is the internet. We make up lies and report them as truth. Take it with a grain of salt. But, folks, we're talking Loki. We're talking Snyder Cut. If you are a member, or even if you're a regular member, just someone here, Nick Carr, we got Raging Air. Ooh, Charlie. Charlie. My friend. If you want in, you can jive with Jack. Let me know in the comments. If you want in, I'll send you a link, or Tyler will send you a link. You can jump on in a segment we're calling Jivin to Jack, which means you're talking with me. I'd love to have Charlie on. Prakash, if you join, we can do the whole show in Hindi and just piss off everyone. We'll do the whole show in Hindi, and we'll just, talk about Snyder, and we'll maybe even give away one or two big scoops, and we'll do it in Hindi. But, folks, there we go. Charlie, you got it? All right, Charlie, do me a favor. Direct message me, Jivin with Jack, and I'll bring you on. If you guys don't know who Charlie is, I keep calling him Charlie. Rage Entertainment. He has his own channel. In fact, one of the first times I did a guest appearance on Pop Culture Corner was on Charlie's channel. So, Charlie, do me a favor. Send me your. I think you're on Twitter as Raging Entertainment, and I'll send you a link. Anyone else wants to join? We're gonna have fun today. We are gonna see. Here's the thing. When Tyler's not here, I can do whatever I want. We can talk about whatever we want. We can do whatever we want. In fact, I'm going to start drinking. Where's the alcohol? Give me some alcohol. But, Charlie will be joining us. We are talking Loki. We're talking physical. In fact, it's perfect because Charlie is a big proponent of physical media. And, folks, if you are a fan of Zack Snyder's Justice League, you need to buy the physical copy. We have always been talking about what can we do? What can we do as fans? What can we do as fans to support the Snyder movement? Okay, you already have HBO Max. We already have that, right? So we watch it again and again and again. Even Zack was saying, look, keep watching the movie. Keep giving it your support. Do whatever you have to do to help keep it moving, right? Well, the next thing you can do, even if you don't use physical copies, if you are a Snyder fan and you want to help Zack Snyder, if you want to send a bigger message, another message to Warner Brothers on September 7th, buy the damn film. You may never open it, but buy it. Buy it on 4K, buy it on Blu-ray. If you still have DVDs, buy it on DVD. If you still have a VHS player, buy it on VHS. If you still use Laserdisc, buy it on Laserdisc. But folks, to help support the Snyder movement, to restore the Snyder Verse, do me a favor. So, Charlie, I don't have the ability to message you on Twitter. So why don't you message me, Jivin with Jack, and I'll send you the link. You can go ahead and join, or maybe Ty can set out. Check my Facebook Messenger. Look at Charlie, all old school, using Facebook Messenger. But look, one of the best ways we can support Zack Snyder and the Snyder Cut movie is to make sure that when the physical media comes out, it sells well, and I'm saying really well. And I want this to bring back the physical media market. I want Warner Brothers to know that we are not giving up that we'll pay for on HBO Max, we'll pay for it for streaming, and we'll pay for it for physical media. And look, dude, this is a shot. Let me just tell you something. So right now we're broadcasting in 1080p. So the image you're seeing, even though it's 4K, is probably 1080p. Imagine what this will look like, what this will look like in 4K, physical 4K with an HDMI 2 cable. In fact, I think the one they have on the PlayStation 5 is an HDMI 3. I think that's what they call it. But in order to support the Snyder Verse, what you have to do is do a pre-order, maybe on Amazon.com or Walmart or Target. Or if you buy your movies locally, buy the physical copy. All right, guys. So at this moment, this section is called Jivin' with Jack. What we're going to do is, if you're a member or one of our casual or regular guests, we're going to bring you in. So at this moment, I'm bringing in.
Hey,
how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good. I'm so sorry I forgot to get back to you about tomorrow night because we were doing our own panel. Ty organizes Wednesday night, so I do Tuesdays and Thursdays. But listen, you are a big proponent of physical media, and I'm always arguing with people, especially if it's a movie you love. Physical media is better than streaming.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I know I'll be buying this September 7th.
Yes. So September 7th is when the Zack Snyder Justice League is going to be coming out on 4K physical media in general.
Yeah. Can you buy it streaming yet? I haven't checked. Is it like all you?
Streaming, I'm not 100% on that one. I know with physical copies in general, UK overseas had their first run. So if anybody were to buy it, that's how you were able to do it. It was like go through Zavi or something like that.
Okay. Because I know like overseas where they don't have HBO Max or HBO Go, people had to either rent it or buy it like through like a streaming service. I know they have other services out there that we don't know about here in the US. But are you still surprised they never released numbers for the Snyder Cut?
What do you mean by numbers, though?
Like how well it did on HBO Max?
Well, I always heard that it actually did really well.
That's what I heard too.
But have I seen anything reported on numbers? No, not personally. So
I've seen it from other streaming services that are in the US. I think there's one called Samba. I think the UK released their numbers. It was number one, and then it was number one again a couple of weeks ago. But it seems like they're not really bragging how popular this film is. And it's a shame. And last night we had a panel, and I this goes back to the same old story. It seems like Warner Brothers is kind of intentionally sabotaging, Zack Snyder, or at least the success of the Snyder Cut. I mean, look what they did today. We were talking about this earlier. Zack posted this photo a couple of days ago on Twitter, and then they did this to him. A report from the copyright holder. Can you believe that? Like,
that's wrong.
How often have you or I or anyone on Twitter posted an image
and have it be taken down?
It had to be taken down. Like, okay, video, maybe, music, okay.
I've been blocked for my ranting on some people, but
really?
Oh, yes, I have.
Let me ask you this, because you might be a good person to talk to about this. Just in general, if you don't want to talk about it, we can move on. But what are your thoughts on cancel culture? Because I have my own kind of gripes with it. But like, if
let's just say cancel culture has been around forever, if you really think about it, because going back to like say metal music or whatever it may be, like Twisted Sister, the singer, I forget his name at the moment. What's his name? Like Dean or something like that. But they were trying to cancel metal music at one point. Hell, and then himself when he first came out.
Yeah. My favorite band is Judas Priest, and there was a case in the late 80s, early 90s where two kids unfortunately tried to commit suicide. One succeeded, the other didn't. And they said, there's a Judas Priest song called Better By You. And if you listen carefully, he says, do it, do it, do it. It wasn't true, but it was actually a case. I guess what I've noticed recently, the difference is, so like in the 90s, you're right, they were going after video games heavy. Remember when when Columbine happened, they were trying to ban Doom. They're like, we got to get rid of Doom. Doom is bad for you.
They were also trying to ban Marilyn Manson for that too.
Yep.
And the band Rammstein.
Yeah. Du hast. Yeah. Someone who listens to metal. They were going after that, but a lot of that was coming, especially in the 80s against, Judas Priest. I think Ozzy Osbourne went to court over one incident. They were trying to get after him. it was always coming from like the evangelical right.
Yeah, basically.
It was like the concern. Look, I'm a practicing Catholic, so it's not like I'm against, religious people, but like they were like, you can't watch this, you can't listen to this song. In the 90s, they were going a lot after gangster rap music, and we wanted to talk about Megan Stallion, like, okay, you don't listen to it, but do they have a right to make that music, whatever.
Oh yeah. I mean, I may not agree with everything that's out there musically or even movie-wise as well.
There we go. Let's take a look at that while you're talking.
Oh, there you go.
Watch our viewership jump up, guys. We'll leave this image up the whole show if you stay on with us. Go ahead.
There you go. But cancel culture itself is just not new. And I know that I don't agree on everything there is. There are going to be movies that I personally enjoy that people will not enjoy.
Yeah.
Now, the example, I don't like the movie Social Network.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people happen to like it. But to me, it was a movie that didn't need to exist. And that's just me.
Yeah.
Like at all. And I like the actors that are in there. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean I don't like the director either. It's just, to me, that story just didn't need to come. Mark Zuckerberg's life is not that interesting in my opinion.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I still haven't seen it yet.
Oh, well, you're not missing anything in my opinion.
I'm not missing anything at all. You know what I did see recently? I'm not going to lie. When I was a little kid, Titanic came out.
Yes.
And it was a love story. And I'm like, I don't care. And then, I just didn't want to watch it. I just did not want to watch it. I didn't see it. I remember everyone was seeing it. Like, it became a thing. That and The Phantom Menace were those movies where everyone kept going to see it again and again every weekend in the late 90s. I just didn't care. I hated Leonardo DiCaprio because, like, all the girls liked him. You remember that kind of phase?
Oh, yeah. Like, I think anybody who hated DiCaprio was because they didn't look as good as he did.
Exactly. And that's what it was. And it's Tyler's favorite movie, by the way.
Really?
Tyler's favorite movie, yeah. Here's what's interesting. Hey, Adam, welcome. Guys, we're doing a panel, so if you want to join in a second, we're calling Jivin With Jack as opposed to Jivin With Jack.
I won't be on here long, guys.
Stay tuned. We'll do the whole thing. We got things ready. But I finally saw it, and I gotta admit, I really liked it. I was surprised by how much I liked. Maybe it's because in my head I was like, it can't be that good, But I'll be honest with you. The end.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
well, I mean, it
stayed with me.
Everything to me, it kind of had everything if you really think about it, because there was love, there was betrayal, there was suspense, a little bit of a thriller aspect, and then you had the action with the boat itself, and people
that's kind of scary, man,
freezing in the ocean, and you're like, God damn, And
it just so I knew it was a 3-hour movie, so I felt like the whole shipwreck thing would happen in the last 20 minutes, but like. Basically, about a little less than halfway through is when the iceberg hits.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it's just mayhem for the entire second half of the film. I was like, it's going to be like the last 10 minutes or whatever.
And may I say that Billy Zane did a good job as the evil jerk.
Let me say this about Billy Zane. I'm sure you've seen The Phantom.
Yes, I have. And I've seen Demon Knight.
Really? So what are your thoughts on The Phantom? I saw it as a kid. I liked it. I was like, everyone's like, oh, it's a horrible movie. So I'm like, let me try watching it again.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. Yes. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was about to say, because like in a full honest aspect, when you're a kid, you're almost easily amused by like things that are superhero-ish or whatever it may be. And when you get older, you're like, either you do like it still, or you're like, wow, I liked that. Really? You almost like you're disgusted with yourself in a way. Yeah. But me, I would have to say most of the movies that I grew up with, I still love today.
Yeah, yeah. For those of you who haven't seen it, The Phantom came out in 1996. It was the first time I had seen Billy Zane. The next year he did Titanic.
Yes.
It was kind of like a noir detective kind of era film, and the idea was that this is family and there's always a new phantom, and it was this guy's turn, and it had a very young Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Does anybody in the chats remember a movie of Billy Zane called Demon Knight?
No. When you said Demon Knight, I wasn't even sure what that was. Let me look it up. Demon Knight. Oh, when did that come out?
In the 90s.
Oh, it's a comic. Oh, so is this a DC property?
I don't know if it's DC property, but it's Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, William Sadler's in it. I love. Oh, okay. Tales from the Crypt. Demon Knight.
Awesome movie. Very underrated too.
Okay, I'm definitely checking that out. So apparently there's a Demon Knights comic also by DC, but I don't think they're related. But yeah, so Billy Zane's in Titanic. He's also in The Phantom, which I thought was really good. I kind of liked it. I'm like, I wouldn't be against if they ever revived that franchise again.
Yeah, I mean, they could definitely do a lot with it now. And a fun fact about Billy Zane, he was also in like somewhat cameo role. The Janet Jackson Tupac movie, Poetic Justice. He's in the beginning.
He's in that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like Janet Jackson, her and her boyfriend, they're in the drive-in watching a movie. That movie is with Billy Zane.
Oh. Because I know Billy Zane is in
Charmed, the show.
Back to the Future. He's one of Biff's goons.
Yes, he is. He is.
Yeah.
I think the third one. I think it was the third one that he was in.
He's in the first one. He's definitely in the first one. Yeah, he's in the first one. And then you see him in the second one. Remember when like Marty comes back to the alternate 1985? It's the same goons, but they're made to look older. Billy Zane is one of them also, you know, like Biff.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Where Biff's the billionaire person or whatever, and you see the guy with the cowboy hat. I think
the cowboy hat. Zane. Yep, that's him.
Yeah.
He always kind of got me a very Michael Keaton vibe, the way he looked underneath, like, you know, the mouth and everything.
He's an underrated actor, in my opinion.
Very underrated actor, and it's a shame he hasn't been in more. But speaking of Michael Keaton, I don't want to ask you how old you are, but I was 2 when the first one came out, but it was still really big in like 91, 92. Like everyone was talking about that first Michael Keaton movie. And even though I want the Snyder Verse restored, I can't deny, maybe it's just a nostalgia factor, that I can't wait to see him in the mask again. Do you have any thoughts on Michael Keaton as Batman?
Well, to kind of make this short, because I actually have someone here that's visiting me right now that just showed up. So, but how do I feel about Michael Keaton? I love the fact that he's coming back. I saw some leaked photos of his hair, I guess, to where it was supposed to look how he looked in the 80s, but just gray, you know?
Yeah. And
I can't wait to see how it turns out. That's all I can really say. But I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you.
Hate to cut it off so short, but
No.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie, we'll stay in touch because, you know, Nick Carr, let me bring up his real quick. I know you got to go. Let me bring up what he said here. I love physical media. Pop culture needs a physical media guy. You and I have talked possibly of doing like some segments where we kind of like cross promote physical media. Because you know what? There's a lot. I like physical media, and I feel like even like collector's editions and box sets, they've kind of been like not doing them as well as they were doing them like 10 years ago. I mean, you bought a box set. It was gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Now they kind of slip it in there. Now they do, instead of giving you a box, they do that thing with like the CDs inside, or you just kind of flip the page.
Yeah, kind of the flimsy book. So but thanks for having me on, and I will definitely keep in touch.
All right, Charlie. Guys, thank you for Charlie. Make sure to follow him at Raging Entertainment. He's got new content for you waiting.
Yes. See ya.
See ya. All right, guys, we're here. We're talking Loki. We're talking Snyder. I cannot wait to buy the physical copy of Zack Snyder's The Justice League. But let me, for a minute, while I have you all here, how many of you did watch the 1989 movie? Because I've seen some people who are younger who watch it like, oh, my God, this movie's kind of corny. You know, they're using art. It won an Oscar for art direction. But here's an interesting story about Michael Keaton. So Michael Keaton at that point was kind of popular. His biggest movie was Mr. Mom. And then a year earlier, he had done Beetlejuice. So when people found out that Tim Burton was directing it, you know, Tim Burton had done Beetlejuice. He had done Pee-wee's Big Adventure. He had done it. You know, he had basically built a reputation. He was only like 28, 29 when he made that first Batman movie, right? Tim Burton, when they asked him, why did you cast Michael Keaton? That's the answer right there. He said his eyes. Michael Keaton had the ability to emote from beneath the cowl. So when Michael Keaton was announced as the cast, everyone's like, oh my God, they're gonna make the Adam West Batman. They're getting a comedic actor in Michael Keaton, who did Mr. Mom, who did Gung Ho, who did Beetlejuice, and they're gonna make Batman funny, they're gonna make Batman silly, they're gonna make Batman campy, right? But Tim Burton made the case to Warner Brothers why Michael Keaton. In fact, 50,000 letters were written to Warner Brothers in 1988. So this is a year before the movie came out, demanding Warner Brothers get rid of Michael Keaton. This actually happened. But Tim Burton said he didn't cast him because of his height, because Michael Keaton's about 5'10", you know, which isn't short, by the way. But he wasn't built like Schwarzenegger or Keaton. Got in really good shape. for this movie. There's actually a lot of footage of him working out. He got really lean and muscular for this. But Warner Brothers panicked. This is a true story. So Warner Brothers, and we know Warner Brothers panics. When Warner Brothers panics, you know they panic. So what did they do? They didn't even finish the film. They created arguably one of the worst trailers of all time. They took footage from the movie, and it's like me editing 10 years ago. Like, all right, let me put some footage here. They look up the Batman 1989 trailer, the original Batman 1989 trailer, and watch that trailer. It looks like someone just took scenes and put them together. It's an awful trailer. However, the hype worked. Back then, we're talking about 1988, 1989, there was no YouTube. There was no website where you could watch trailers. If you wanted to watch a movie trailer, you had to go to the movies. The hype for the Tim Burton Batman was so big, people were reportedly walking into theaters, buying tickets, watching the Batman trailer, and then leaving. That was it. Back then, movie tickets were like $3-4. They were not that expensive. People were walking into the movie theater just to watch the trailer for the 1989 Batman, and then they just left. Then, and at comic book conventions, and nowadays comic book conventions are huge. Back then, they weren't. Even when I was going around like 2000, 2001, the biggest celebrity you would have is Kevin Smith. You didn't have celebrities there. They were selling bootleg VHS of the trailer. So people were going into the movie theaters, recording the trailer for the 1989 Batman movie. All right? They're recording the trailer and then selling bootlegs over there. Yeah, Charlie left. Charlie did leave. Charlie had to go. So they're recording bootlegs and then selling bootlegs of it. Then the Batman posters were being torn out of, like, you know, we go to a bus stand, they have a poster there. Now it's like from, you know, it can be a movie, it can be medical stuff, you know, try Viagra. People were breaking bus stop posters and stealing the Batman poster. When that movie came out, it was a big deal. It made something like close to $500 million in 1989. You know, nowadays that doesn't seem like that much, but it was a huge deal. Remember, and when it came out on a VHS, it flew off the shelves. So nowadays, you know, we're talking about physical media and how Zack Snyder's film is coming out on physical copy. During that era, they used to sell VHS tapes everywhere. You went to the pharmacy, your local drugstore, they were selling VHS. Video stores, back then, of course, you had your Suncoasts, you had, your West Coast Video, you had a place where you could buy a video. But everywhere you went, you could buy VHS. Batman 1989 comes out on VHS. It flies off the shelf. You also have to remember, this is an era when blockbusters were not that common. So look at just this year alone. We got Mortal Kombat. We got Fast 9. We got Black Widow. We got the Suicide Squad. And then later this year, we got the Eternals. We got Shang-Chi and Spider-Man. Okay? In the 80s, this was not happening. You are not getting this many big. So when Batman came out, it had a shelf period for a long time. People were talking about it for a long time. Number two, casting Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Today we look at it, we're like, why'd they cast Jack Nicholson as the Joker? You know, was that really like that great of a choice? At that time, Jack Nicholson's got 2 Oscars. He is a bona fide megastar. And when he was cast as the Joker, he took a small fee for the film, but wanted the box office. He wanted a percentage of returns. He got $60 million for playing the Joker. At the end of the day, it holds one of the records for one of the biggest payouts for a movie. So when the Michael Keaton Batman movie came out, 2 things happened. It was a huge hit. Second thing that happened was everyone shut the F up about Michael Keaton. No one was saying he wasn't Batman. Like, he did something so unique to that role. And like, you might look at, okay, let's look at Christian Bale, who got in incredible shape. But did Christian Bale do anything interesting as Bruce Wayne? I would say no. What Michael Keaton did was he brought, like, if you look at these, you know, look at his eyes. There's something going on there. He kind of has these crazy eyes. And I would always say that of all the Batman movies, this one is probably the one that's closest to a work of art. The use of shadows, the use of lighting, the use of cinematography, the use of art direction is really cool. So there's no doubt that when the Flash movie comes out, and look, there's a reason. Look at this. Look at that image right there. They're using the suit from the 1989 film. The reason they're doing that is because they know that that movie has a strong following. I'm not saying a cult following. I'm saying a strong following. That if and when they are going to bring Michael Keaton in to the DCEU or whatever alternate multiverse they're in, it's going to be a huge deal. And you know what? After Keaton, Affleck is my second favorite. I think Affleck brought a lot to the role. I still hope they definitely bring Affleck back. Folks, for those of you joining us right now, I am doing the show solo. I was joined by Tyler. He started out with me. After that, we got Charlie from Raging Entertainment. If you're in the comments section and you'd like to join us, I'm here. We're doing a segment called Jiving with Jack to Jack. If you're a member or you're a regular guest, you're welcome to join the show. Just let me know on the comments below. So we're talking about that. We're talking about Batman. We're talking about all this stuff, but we're going to keep moving on. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned because we're not done yet. So just a quick plug. Tomorrow we are going to be covering Fast 9. I know that picture's from like Fast 7, but it has Paul Walker in it, and I love Paul Walker, and I'm really sad every time I watch those movies that he's gone. Tomorrow morning, we are partnered. We Pop Culture Corner are partnered with Showcase Cinemas Deluxe, and we'll be doing a live show tomorrow morning, followed by a post show after the movie, talking about the movie. And this movie is going to be a real test into whether people are going back to the movies or not. Because look, you know, Wonder Woman did a dual release. Wonder Woman did not make that much money theatrically. It did make, apparently it had a lot of views on HBO Max. Mortal Kombat did okay theatrically because it was also on HBO Max. The Conjuring did okay theatrically because it was on HBO Max. This movie is not. This movie is not going to be on HBO Max or Universal or Paramount Plus. This will purely be online. So the question becomes, are people ready to go back to the movies? Look, one of the things that we have always said at Pop Culture Corner is that we need to keep the movie industry alive. A couple of weeks ago, I did a Jack Attack where I talked about we as nerds, we in fandom, we as, you know, geeks and gamers, we have to keep the industries alive that supported us, whether it was the arcade, whether it was, you know, the local comic book store, whether it was the movie theater. You know, I would say I was always kind of a geek. I was a sociable geek. So like, I wasn't like a recluse. I love going out. I'm an outdoors kind of guy. When I say outdoors, I mean like bars and stuff, not like the woods. I do not like camping. I like the idea of camping, but if I go camping, I'm spending the night in a hotel. But we have to keep the industry alive. So I've made an effort. Anytime there's any kind of movie, we're working with Showcase, we work with them, and we go to see the movies. And look, you don't have to spend too much money at the movie theaters. You know, if you're trying to save money, just buy a ticket, don't eat, and you can save your money and go eat somewhere afterwards. But I miss going to the movies. And for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I haven't gone out. The last movie we saw was The Conjuring. And since then, nothing really came out. But you know what did come out? In the Heights came out. And boy, we're going to get into some controversy. How many of you have heard about the controversy regarding Into the Heights? So check this out. Even if you're not, I'm not going to talk about the movie. I'm going to talk about the controversy that's attached to, it's called In the Heights. So basically, it's a musical written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Who is Lin-Manuel Miranda? He's the guy who made that play that no one is shutting up about called Hamilton. All right. So he made the Hamilton play. It was a huge hit. It damn near broke Disney Plus when it went on Disney Plus. My sister has watched it 400 times and is getting very bad history from it, but that's okay. His new movie is called In the Heights. It's set in Washington Heights. It's a musical. Lin-Manuel Miranda was accused of using too many light-skinned Spanish people. I kid you not. This actually happened. He was accused of using too many light-skinned Spanish people. And let me give you an idea what Lin said. They said that he's Puerto Rican, by the way, that he was truly sorry for the perceived colorism in the casting choices. All right, look, I feel like I can speak with some, I don't want to use the word authority, maybe some sense of perspective. Ooh, I got new posters, guys. See this wall behind me? I got so many posters. In fact, you know what? I'm going to show you some of my posters before the show ends. A dear friend of mine, he laminated them for me. But I got new posters. I'm putting up new posters. But okay, so Lin-Manuel Miranda who is half Puerto Rican, is being accused of lightning. Look at this movie. Oh, wait, no, that's not it. That's Megan Thee Stallion. But he's being accused of using too many light-skinned Spanish people in his movies. And I'm going to give you my perspective on this. I think, hey, Black Ops, listen. Black Ops was with us last night. If you're interested in joining the show, let me know in the comments. You're welcome to join us. We're doing a segment called Jivin with Jack. We just had Charlie from Raging Entertainment. So Black Ops, if you want to jump in on Jivin with Jack, let me know. I appreciate the support. We had a great time talking to you last night. But to get back to it, Lin-Manuel Miranda is being accused of using too many light-skinned people. And he actually apologized for that. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about that. This is, to me, is sometimes looking for an issue, like just creating controversy for the sake of creating controversy. I'm not going to deny that in Hollywood, yeah, they've always cast lighter-skinned people, especially black actors, female actors. They would always cast lighter-skinned people. But I don't think going after Lin-Manuel Miranda is, really conductive to a healthy society. So this is what Bill Maher said, and I know all of you guys hate Bill Maher because of what he said about Marvel movies. But Bill Maher basically said, like, quote, this is what Bill Maher is saying, "This is why people hate Democrats. Please stop apologizing. You're the guy who made the founding fathers black and Hispanic. I don't think you have to apologize Twitter for F's sake. It's cringy. At some point, people are going to stand up to these bullies because that's what it is. It's just bullying. I can make you crawl like a dog and I enjoy it." I know you guys can't see that, but basically he's saying, like, you're going after Lin-Manuel Miranda over what is really a non-issue. Look, okay, so let me give you an example. I'm a person of color, right? Do you know how many lights I have on me so you can see me clearly? I have 2 lights. If I just turn one of them off, this is what I look like. All right? Because Ty is white, he doesn't need that many lights, but he uses lights too. So the effect is given is that my skin is a lot brighter than it actually is. This happens in film. I am not making it up. Samuel L. Jackson, dark-skinned guy. They have to put a lot of lights on him so you can see him better. It's just the way camera picks it up. When I was in film school, we had to do like white balancing and stuff like that because sometimes when you have darker skin, that's not racism. It just happens. When you have darker skin, you have to be lit differently so that the camera can see you better. So I don't know if these actors are actually light-skinned or not. It's just the way the camera is hitting it. But again, this is such a dumb issue to go after someone by. And he actually apologized. He should not have apologized. He says, he should have just said, look, I'm not a racist. I cast the best actors for this movie. And mind you, I have not seen this movie. I will probably not ever see this movie. I don't watch musicals unless it's Mary Poppins or it's a Disney movie with a lot of songs in it. But again, this is, another, look, I did my thing on cancel culture. You know how I feel about cancel culture. You know how I feel about the Gina Carano thing. I don't agree with what she said or did, but I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid that you want to go after someone based on the characters they cast because you perceive them to be light-skinned. It's stupid, folks. This is not good. This is basically a Jack attack right now. Leave Lin-Manuel Miranda alone. I'm not a fan of his. I'm not against him, but I don't watch his stuff. I'm a fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda as I am of Harry Potter in the sense that I don't really watch either of them. But we have become this society that looks for every small thing. I think Bill Maher is dead right. He's dead right. Like, dude, stop apologizing. Every time someone says, well, you said this, but did you mean that? He apologized. And look, he's a very progressive person, Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm sure he probably feels bad for this. He shouldn't. He cast the actors and actresses that he wanted in his movie, and that's how it should be. It doesn't, before we were arguing that there are not enough people of color in film, okay. Now we're saying, well, they're dark-skinned. They're not dark-skinned. Do you have a problem with light-skinned people? I mean, do you see how this is kind of stupid? How this is kind of stupid that we're actually talking about this. And I'm not talking about me talking about it. I'm talking about the fact that this is actually an issue and that people are actually upset about this. Get to what is the Insight Radio? We're the only podcast doing a show. Oh, guys, check this out. So welcome Insight Radio. I've actually listened to their podcast and I've actually kind of become a fan of them. I'm going to plug them for a second, but if you guys kind of like no holds barred stuff and like kind of like the Joe Rogan style, check these guys out. Insight Radio podcast. It's really cool. What's kind of unique about them is that they're anonymous, so they actually never say who they are, but definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. So, listen, I might actually go see Into the Heights just to piss off the people who are mad about the skin tone thing. But listen, go support your local theaters, folks. Please support your local theaters. Let me say this. Even if you're not a fan of the Fast and Furious movies, woo, sorry about that. I have no idea what just happened. I'm telling you right now, that was probably Austin. Where is Austin? We don't know where Austin is. Or Justice. I think they stole the money and left. But basically, do me a favor. Support your local movie theaters, all right? Tomorrow, Fast 9 is coming out. And we have to support these movies. Not because you love these movies, but the industry cannot go away. Guys, can you imagine a day where another big Marvel movie, let's say an Avengers 4 comes out, and no one sees it? You have to watch it on your TV. Could you imagine having to watch Avengers Endgame for the very first time? I remember my experience with Infinity War and Endgame in the theater, and the crowd turned into a effing soccer stadium cheering like it's the Super Bowl. You're not going to experience that at home. And if we don't support the movie industry, I know it's expensive, but I recommend go out there, support it. Tomorrow morning, we'll be there at 9:30, and we're going to be doing Black Widow after that. Check us out in the morning. We're doing a pre-show non-spoiler, and then we're going to do a post-show non-spoiler for most of it. Then towards the end, we will get into spoilers, and we will put up a spoiler tag. We'll let you know when we're discussing spoilers, and you don't have to watch that part of the show until later. But look, folks, we are putting out new content every day. We're putting out new information every day. Look, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about, and that had to do with Ms. Britney Spears. However, we are running out of time, and I'm going to save that for next week. This is what I want you guys to do. Look up what's happening to her, because it's kind of effed up. It is kind of messed up what's happening to her. Basically, she went nuts in 2009. True story. And when I say nuts, she had a mental breakdown of some sort. She did something called a conservatorship. So literally, it's like, okay, I am Jack. I can't control myself. I use a lot of drugs. I don't. But I have a lot of problems. I can't manage my finances. I'm being neglectful of my kids, stuff like that. So she did something where her parents have 100% control of her life. All right. However, that was 12 years ago. She wants her life back. And I think they need to let her give back. She's back. She's normal. She has an IUD to prevent her from getting pregnant. And she does not even have the right to remove that without whoever her parents or her conservator giving permission. This is kind of spooky stuff. Okay, and it's not like she has some kind of serious disease. And don't tell me that her parents care about her well-being, because in the years since she's been under this conservatorship, she's still performing. She's still putting out music. She's still doing this to make us happy. But she has zero control over her own personal life. I really want to get into this. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. Folks, today was a little bit weird. So Austin, keep him in your prayers. He should be better, but he's been feeling really sick. He wasn't here Tuesday. He didn't do the panel with us last night. He didn't do the watch party. Keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Hopefully he'll be back and up and running tonight. Folks, hopefully we'll be back next week. I do want to hit on the Britney Spears thing. So we will talk about that on Tuesday. I promise you. We're going to get into that. Even if you have no interest in Britney Spears, look up what's happening to her, because it's really, really messed up. And I want to hear your thoughts and opinion. Nicotina. Oh, see, Nicotina would have been perfect to come and do the show with me, Nick. But we're actually shutting down at the moment. But folks, tomorrow morning, even if you don't wake up in the morning, watch it after the fact. We're doing a pre-show live from Showcase Cinema Deluxe. And mind you, we have partnered with them. You know, some people are in their cars and it's like, oh, yeah, guys, welcome. This is Jack. I just saw the movie and you're watching my review from my car. Yeah, no, this is not one of those. We're not doing that. You gotta be worked up here. We're doing an actual review live from Showcase Cinema Deluxe. We have a room there that we rent, we're working with them. get out there, support. Maybe don't even see Fast 9 this weekend. See something this weekend. Stop staying at home. Get out there. Support your local industry. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. If you're new to the show, make sure to like, share, subscribe, or as I like to say, sub-share. Like, share, and sub-share. We'll be back, I think, tomorrow. We're going to do a show tomorrow night, I think. But make sure to hit the notification bell. We are giving you constant content all the time. We're here. We do it for you. And we do it for the culture. Whoops, I meant to put this.